Well, HughFest 2022, which follows the well-received Home is Where the Music Is exhibition, offers a lineup of music, dance and spoken word that is infused with Bra Hugh Masekele's legacy and vision. On the stage this year is Mandisi Dyantyis, Sipho, Hotstix, Mabuse, Gugu Shezi, Thandi Ntuli, Themba Mokoena, Leomile of Lesotho and Muneyi. Well, joining me to tell us more is festival organizer Mabusha Masekele. Mabusha, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us this morning. I mean, you know, when you think about the legacy of Bra Hugh Masekele, I'd imagine that it's a daunting task to try and, you know, curate a festival and experience that really encapsulates that legacy. But here we are today with HughFest 2022. Talk to us about the festival and its genesis.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I appreciate it. The genesis of the Hugh Masekele Heritage Festival really came out of Bra Hugh's magically creative brain. He was an ambassador for Ashurpal, who is has continued to be our sole sponsor through the years. But as an ambassador for Ashurpal, he, of course, you know, could have gotten a whole bunch of money. And instead, what he did was he decided to hold this festival every year and ask Ashurpal to be behind it. And the idea was always basically for Hughie, the idea was always to share with Africans, you know, all the glory and the greatness and the creativity and ingenuity that they are. It's a bit of a daunting task, but, you know, I lived with my uncle for most of my life and had many experiences with him. But most of all, what he taught me was that in all of it, you have to always be laughing. You have to always be smiling. You have to always find the joyous side of life. And that makes it all the more easier because it's just like he's right by my side and we're just having another day and we're laughing and we're joking and we're doing these things, these creative things.
I mean, that's lovely. And, I mean, you talk about the creative and magical brain that Bra Hugh Masekele had. And what comes to mind is, of course, this passion that he had for cross-generational and cross-cultural sort of educative forms and approaches to sharing music and sharing everything that's fantastic and beautiful about this continent. How does the festival do just that in this instance?
Well, this particular year, we've got quite a lot of cross-generational conversation going on with Bra Sipho, Mabuse and Gugu Shezi, and with a collaboration between Bra Themba Mokoena and Thandi Ntuli. And, you know, the thing about Hugh is that he was never an old guy. He never became an old guy. He was always quite young and spry and always interested in what younger people were doing, and always interested in making sure that younger people understood that they were important and they had a place. And that place, part of that place, was being a kind of bridge between who their parents are and who they are and who the younger generation will be, so that we have a continuum of conversation and exchange. You know, Hughie was really big on collaboration. So that exchange and that continual dialogue was very important to Hugh, and that's how, you know, over the years we've had everybody from Jeremy Lutz to Bra Sipho, from God, the name escapes me. But what my point is that Hughie, like Hughie, the festival has always epitomized the idea of conversation and expression and sharing.
I mean, the event this year is taking place at the Nyrox Sculpture Park, which, you know, is notorious for housing all these beautiful pieces of art. And so patrons, you know, while they're enjoying all of these pieces and artworks, also get to listen to the likes of Mandisi Dyantyis, who's a trumpeter and vocalist in his own right, Thandi Ntuli, a pianist and vocalist in her own right as well. What sort of experience can patrons look forward to come December 4th?
Well, I mean, I've been to the Nyrox Sculpture Park, and first of all, I would say that one of the greatest things about that space is the integration of art, various very magnificent art pieces from all over the world, and nature, and the natural state of things, and the flow of nature around things. And that's the kind of experience that people should expect, to be part of nature and still experience the creativity of humanity and, you know, the interaction of not just people, but people with nature, which I think is a very important thing these days as we become more and more digitized and, you know, computerized and so forth, to remember that, you know, we are beings of the planet. And hopefully this festival on December 4th will bring people a little bit closer to that idea and that truth. Yeah,
and I mean, just listening to Mabusha talk about, you know, reminding people that they're beings of this here planet and really calling us to enjoy everything that this earth has to offer. I think it brings into sharp focus the fact that we've also just come through a really harrowing time with, you know, COVID-19, the pandemic, and how it's really devastated not only the music industry but other sectors. And, you know, it's encouraging to see that festivals such as the Hugh Masekele Heritage Festival made it through the pandemic, made it through to the other side, you know, and people can once again come together, enjoy music, enjoy art in the fashion that you've just described for us.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, look, we wouldn't have made it through what sustained us through the whole COVID-19 is that we did manage to present the festival as a virtual event for 2 years in a row. And none of that would have been possible without the support of Ashupal, who have been a really, really fantastic and great partner through the years. Yes, and definitely we've all been, you know, hurt in many ways by this pandemic. But it's also just a reminder that, you know, we are human beings and we will make it through. And the best way to do that is together, because it's through togetherness and sharing and being with each other that we express what we actually are, which is, you know, beautiful, loving human beings.
Indeed. Mabusha, thank you so much. My takeaway from this conversation is to find your pockets of joy and happiness where you can find them. Mabusha, thank you so much for joining us. That is, of course, Mabusha Masekele talking to us there about HughFest 2022.